my name is Sharice Franco, and I'm going to be interviewing Mahalani today about her job title. So, my first question for you is, what is your job title?
My job title is Hulili Bridge Coordinator.
Okay. And what do you define as a social worker?
I think when I first thought of the title social worker, I really thought about it being like somebody at CPS who like goes to your house and takes your kid away and those kind of things. And it wasn't until I was in school and I was in the field for a little while that I realized that really a social worker is not just those kind of people that you think have the title social worker. It's really anybody who works with people. I think because I think once you go into school and once you kind of get your feet wet, you realize that all the skills that you need or that you're trained as a social worker really just totally overarches into so many different fields with working with people. And so bringing it back around, so my definition of a social worker really is just anybody who works with people or wants to help people.
Cool. What are your tasks?
So my tasks right now in the position that I'm in is to support students like you who are making the transition to UH Manoa. So really what I do is to provide academic support, personal support. I also do like little workshops. So I taught your folks IS class before. What I also try to do is I try to integrate some of my social work skills by offering at Manoa we offer wellness workshops. So right now what we've been doing is like Zumba classes, and previously we did Walk Wednesdays and stuff. But as another part of just not the exercise, but we talk about like healthy living lifestyle, how to like take care of yourself, but also how to like balance the multiple roles that you have as like a student, maybe a parent, a sister, child, whatever, and how you can kind of like really balance your life so it's like so hopefully you can take care of all the roles in your life and not just be like stressed out by just one. Mm-hmm. So those are just some of the things that I do.
Cool. What inspired you to pursue this career?
That's a hard question. I think I was raised in a large family, and so the family that I live in, or the household that I live in right now, is a multi-generational family. So it's like my grandparents are there, my parents are there, I was there, and I was always brought up in that household. So I've always been used to taking care of other people. My parents really trained us to, really take care of like your kupuna and then take care of, your parents and you being really respectful. So I think I always had this feeling of wanting to take care of people. And I'm one of the eldest children and grandchildren. So I always had my little cousins or like little siblings younger than me. So I was always just in this like, that's just what I do. So once I got into college, I knew that the helping field was where I wanted to go. So I actually have an undergrad in psychology and a master's in social work. So I kind of always knew that was going to be my thing.
Cool. What's your favorite part of this job?
I think my favorite part is having one-on-one time with students and just getting to know everybody. And I think that like it's important for us when we talk about like academics and things like that. But I think the other important thing for me or like my favorite thing is just getting to know students, not just like what you want to do academically, but what you see yourself doing in the long term. Like, what is your job and like kind of how I can help you or students or whoever just kind of get to where they need to be, like academically, kind of like support. Because I like being a cheerleader for students and just be like, come on, you guys can do it. And but I also kind of am down to be like calling you on and be like, you guys need to go to class or you need to study or, so I just like the one-on-one time with students. That's my favorite part.
What kind of skills are needed for this career, you think?
I think skills-wise, I think that you just really need to be able to listen. I mean, this sounds a little cheesy.
No, yeah.
But like listen kind of like with like being really open, because I know sometimes you might not agree with, like
other
people, but you just, I mean, that's their thing. And
Mhm.
so I think that it's important for us to be a good listener, to really have really good active listening skills, but also to be able to support people, even if you don't maybe like agree, but that's their thing. So being able to do that, I think that that's like a really important thing, and being able to like reflect things back to students, because I think sometimes students look to me for that answer, and sometimes like if it's easy, if it's like a question like, oh, can I take this or can I take that, will this fulfill this requirement, it's like a yes or no. But sometimes students ask me like things like, oh, so should I do something, or I don't, just random things like something that they really have the answer to themselves. I'm like, you got that's up to you, like, you know what I mean, like that's not for me to say, like that's a life decision for you, so whatever you decide to do is where I'm gonna help you. But that's not, I think it's really important to be in this field, to be able to kind of like encourage them, and to give them, to empower them to make their own choices, because I think as a social worker you're just there to like help people support, and it's really not your call to like, well, at least in the position I'm in right now, it's not my call to say, oh yeah, you do this or you do that. That's not my role right now. I think if I was like working CPS, I mean, then I'd be like, you're a bad mom, let me take your kid. But or so, I mean, not like that, but I think in this position that I'm in, it's just really just to like reflect that you guys can do it. You guys you can totally do it. It's just me and the rest of the team being able to be like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, let's figure it out. Okay, here's your choices. Okay, you want to go this way? Okay, we need to plan this and da da da. So I mean, I think that's really important. And I think the other thing too is, as like a social worker, with the training that I've had, it's really important for us to kind of keep a boundary too, because in the field that we're in, it's really easy to kind of blur boundaries. And so it's important to be supportive and nurturing, but also to realize that there's like a line, like a professional line, and then if you continue on your path to being a social worker, like we have these like National Association of Social Worker, like these principles, these things that we as a profession, like like operate under, and one of them is just to really maintain like a rapport. And so like we're friendly, but we're not friends. Do you know what I mean? Because it's safer, it's better for you that we don't cross that line, and it's for me too, So I think it's just remembering that we're here in this role, but we're not on the same level. Does that mean, I mean, it's not like a power and control thing. It's just more that I'm here to support you, and your role is not to support me, or so there's no, it's just kind of like make sure that our roles are clear, that I'm here to help you, and that's in a professional setting. So I try to always kind of like maintain or just keep that in mind, so that it's just kind of clear, but yeah. So I think those are the most important things, just being professional, really being supportive, active listening, being reflective, and I think too, and just always remembering that we're here in a supportive role, and really trying to empower people to do whatever they need to do. Sorry, that was kind of long.
So what is your work environment like? How would you describe that?
My work environment right now, I have to say I'm really lucky, because I get to be out here at Windward, which is great. And then I get to be at Manoa, so I think it's good too, because I'm not pigeonholed into just like one setting in an office, so I'm able to kind of like go out and see students, which I think is really great. At first I kind of was like, oh, I don't know, but I think it's just you get scared of the unknown, but now I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I'm in like Manoa too long sitting at my desk, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be there. But it's good. It's great to be able to be out. And not all jobs you're able to do that, so I think that that's great to have that.
So you can like travel to others.
Mhm.
You work more like in a school setting, like you just come back from UH to one work.
Yeah.
Because of your
Mhm.
position.
Because of my position now. Yep. So right now I'm just either at Minot or Windward, but sometimes, like a couple weeks ago, I went to UH Hilo to do a transfer fair to kind of like recruit more students. So that was cool too, to be able to travel. And then also sometimes, I mean, maybe you might see some of the staff here. We go on like a lot of conferences and we present at different conferences and stuff like that. So it's good. So we do traveling sometimes.
So you just like inform other people about the programs and stuff.
And then we talk about the different programs that we run and how like different partnerships and kind of like the successes of students, like how many students transferred over, like how the program's doing, you know, and then, you know, we talk about evaluation, like how did it help students, you know, what are areas we're working on and stuff like that. But yeah, being able to go back and forth, I think is great because I get to see students on that side, but also help students on this side get to Manoa.
Yeah, my thing is I don't want to be like in just one place and then I get bored and then I'm just not liking it. Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, I think, you know, at first, you know, when you first hear it, you're just kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? But then, you know, once you get into your rhythm, it's just like everything else. You got to like start doing it and then you're like, oh, I get to go to Windward. Yay, goodbye. And whatever. Yeah.
Let's go.
It's super fun.
So, why should others pursue this career?
That is a good question. I think, I mean, in general, social workers, not necessarily in the position that I'm in right now, I think there's just a lot of longevity in social work because there's so many different avenues that you can pursue with a social work degree because a social worker it's a professional degree, so you can be licensed and you can eventually open up your own private practice and do your own kind of billing and get paid directly through like a health insurance, like HMSA. You could take that and they could just pay you directly for like counseling people, providing services. So there's like that kind of option. You could do things, you know, work in this setting and work at a university and support students. I mean, you could go work for CPS if that's what your passion is. You could go work at like places like Kinamalka and work with people that are, you know, having substance abuse issues. I think that there's just so many different opportunities with social work. So I really feel like the options are limitless. So if there's, you know, different things that, you know, like you tried it and you're not into it, like for example, before I came into the university setting, I was working in mental health for about 11 years. And it was great for a time. It was awesome. I loved working. I used to work with autistic students in the school system, and that was great for a while. And then I started working with like highly disturbed teenagers that were like in like the juvie system, and that was good for a while. But I realized I kind of grew out of it, and now I'm here. So I think that with this field, there's so many different opportunities so that if you try something and you're just kind of like, oh, I don't really feel like that, there's all these different opportunities that you can just really get into because you have this skill set that really allows you to just, you know, go wherever you want.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for future social workers?
My advice, I would just say every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Every experience, even if you think that it's just like really minor or anything, any kind of like social interaction is a learning opportunity. I think that you just need to just try to gather as much information as you can when you interact with people. I mean, I think trying to get out there and working with not just like people your age, but like elderly children, people your parents' age. You know, it's because when you get into this field, you're not just working with one person. Like maybe you're my client, for example, but for you, you're like a daughter, you're a sister, you're an employee, and you know what? There's all these other people in your life that have some kind of impact on you. And so if you're having like some kind of issue, or maybe you're not having an issue, but all of their needs and everything, all the different roles you play, all impact your life and like where you're trying to go. And so maybe let's just say like you're having like a financial issue, right? And your parents are currently paying your tuition, but your mom lost her job and they can't. So how do we address that? Well, first we have to talk about, okay, what's your financial need? Can we find like some scholarship money for you? And then we would probably talk about, so how's that at home? Like, is it really stressful? How can we maybe like help you and your mom like maybe get on a good place? You know, there's all of these different aspects that we as a social work address to hopefully alleviate that one problem that maybe is just your tuition that's not being paid for. You know, there's this whole like mecca of like different things that we're gonna try and talk about in order to kind of like support you and just taking care of just maybe that financial need. So I think it's just trying to just learn and like pick up whatever you can. And the other thing too is you might want to do social work now, but you might not want to do it later. So it's good to get your feet wet. So just maybe go take a job, you know, in a school, or just, you know, try different things and try it out. And it might not be for you, but you know, you just gotta push yourself out there and not get discouraged. But at the same time, you know what you want to do, and if you kind of like keep hitting this like, if you're not, oh, your gut is telling you, then I would go with it and maybe think about maybe something else. Because social work can be extremely tough on you because you really, I mean, I kind of think about it as being like a masseuse, but for like your personal, because you kind of like start to absorb
different emotions.
You know, and you absorb a lot of like other people's stuff, and then it's easy to take home.
Like,
and it's easy to take it home with you, and then you're just like, sometimes I go home.
It.
I know, and I go home and I'm like to my husband, I'm like, oh my god, it's like super hard.
So it's like really emotional.
It's totally, and so I think that's the other thing too is like to have a good support system that you can kind of like that will support you in supporting other people, you know. But I like it. I mean, I'm happy. I'm totally happy in what I'm doing, and for me, like I was telling you, I know I'll never go back to mental health because I know that that's just not where I need to be anymore. But it's good. Yeah. So just try it. Yeah. Totally.
Okay, so that concludes all my questions. Thank you so much, Mahela.
No problem.
For letting me interview.